In Jerry's apartment, night. Jerry and George are playing the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game. George: okay Jerry, I may have been getting my butt kicked all week, but this time I'm gonna win, because I play polymerization and fuse my flame manipulator and Masaki the legendary swordsman into flame swordsman. George discards flame manipulator and Masaki the legendary swordsman and places flame swordsman on the playmat. Jerry: yeah, that would be a move that would bring you victory, but I reveal my face down card. Angle on the face down card as Jerry flips it over. Jerry: continue. Just deserts 500 points for every monster you fave on the field. George: damn it, my life points are down to 0. Jerry: well, you shouldn't have been stingy on building your deck, that's why Elaine beat you 5 times in a row. George: yeah, I know. Jerry: she built her deck around luck-based cards and you built your deck around cheap cards that wouldn't cost you a lot of money. George the first: no, I know. Cut to Hint: Takahashi's apartment, night. Jerry, George, Kramer and Newman have gathered at Takahashi's apartment. Takahashi: tomorrow night is the night of the tournament, and as you know, that, since I work for Konami, it is going to be televised, so I'm going to give you these. Takahashi puts a box on the table. Angle on the box. Show that they're Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game booster packs from the series Legend of Blue Eyes White Dragon, Metal Raiders, Magic Ruler and Pharaoh's Servant, as well as promotional packs from the video game adaptations of Yu-Gi-Oh! And a 6th pack that they don't recognize inside of the box. Kramer: one of the packs that they don't recognize out of the box. Kramer: hey, what are in these packs? Takahashi: random cards from the starter decks. There are 6 packs for each booster pack, promo packs and starter deck packs. You each will get 6. Jerry, George, Kramer and Newman each pull 2 of each type of pack out of the box. Takahashi: I expect great things from all of you, so now you can add some more brawn to your decks. Takahashi pauses. Takahashi: oh, and because the ante, I expect of bring 1 extra card to balance out your decks. Takahashi pauses again. Takahashi: you know, to make you look professional, or just in case I decide to have an exhibition match. Cut to Hint: Jerry's apartment, night. Jerry is opening up the Pharaoh's Servant booster pack that he got, and the first card he sees is the Burning Land Magic card. Hint: Costanza Residence's apartment, night. George is sitting at a table with his parents. Estelle, to George: so Georgie, tomorrow night is that big Yu-Gi-Oh game? George: it's called Yu-Gi-Oh! It's actually going to be a televised tournament. Is that like Little League? George: no, it's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game tournament, it's not a sport. George holds up his deck. George: my monsters will battle it out for the glory and the chance to go pro, the prize money. Angle on George's face. George: and one day, when I can build a better deck, I'll sell this deck for a ton of money. Frank grabs George's deck and begins to go through it. Frank, screaming at George: George, these are loser cards. Frank, screaming at George: are you a loser, George? Frank quickly throws George's deck at the table in a fit of rage, scattering the cards. George, screaming, no. George gets up and quickly picks up the cards. George, while picking up the cards, no, my $1 million deck. Cut to Hint: Takahashi's apartment, the next night. Takahashi, you should play a game of rock, paper, scissors to decide who duels who, before the cameraman arrives. The last to remain in will be in the number 1 slot. Jerry, George, Kramer and Newman begin to play rock, paper, scissors. Angle on the men's hands. Jerry, George, Kramer and Newman, speaking in unison, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Newman is eliminated. Newman, though, crap, I wanted to crush that unfunny comedian Jerry in the first round, but I can wait for the final match. Jerry, George and Kramer, speaking in unison, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. George is eliminated. George, though, well, at least I don't have to duel Jerry. Jerry and Kramer, speaking in unison, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Jerry picked rock and Kramer picked scissors. Angle on Jerry. Jerry, well, I'm going first. The cameraman walks into the room. Jerry, George, Kramer and Newman stand in Takahashi's apartment as the cameraman begins to film them live. Takahashi, you've wanted to see a live Yu-Gi-Oh tournament and now you will finally see one. Dueling tonight are 4 up-and-coming duelists who are hoping to go pro. Some of you living in New York may know some of them. Angle on Jerry. Takahashi, though, comedian Jerry Seinfeld, who started out with a Yu-Gi starter deck. Angle on Kramer. Takahashi, though, gambler Cosmo Kramer, who started out with a Pegasus starter deck. Angle on George. Takahashi pauses. Takahashi, though, an unemployed man by the name of George Costanza, who started out with a Joey starter deck. George, screaming, why the hell would you introduce me like that? Angle on Newman. Takahashi, though, and local mailman Newman, who started out with a paper starter deck. Jerry, George, Kramer and Newman stand in front of the 2 chairs and the table that they will be playing Yu-Gi-Oh on. Takahashi walks up to Jerry, George, Kramer and Newman, while holding a briefcase. Takahashi, they will be dueling for these. Angle on the briefcase. Takahashi opens briefcase. Show the cards. Jabu the Dragon Champion, Gate Guardian, Thousand Dragon, Blue Eyes Toon Dragon, Serpent Knight Dragon, Jinso and Imperial Order inside of the briefcase, but there is also an empty slot. Takahashi, there was supposed to be one more prize card, Trihorn Dragon, but it somehow got lost when I received this package, so I'll just send a copy of that card to whoever wins this tournament. But before we begin, let me announce that just like in the current Battle City tournament on the show, each player will be wagering his strongest monster cards as an ante. Angle on Jerry. Jerry, Dark Magician, hands down. Angle on Kramer. Kramer, Barrel Dragon is my strongest monster. Angle on George. George, Red Eyes Black Dragon is my best monster. Angle on Newman. Newman, unfortunately I lost both my Blue Eyes White Dragon and my Judge Man, so the strongest monster in my deck is my Jiragumo. George laughs. Angle on George. George, laughing, are you kidding me? Your strongest monster is one that could backfire? George, continue. I'm dueling the weakest player in the tournament. I actually have a chance now. The tournament begins. Jerry and Kramer are sitting at the table. Takahashi, though, round 1, Jerry versus Kramer begin. Life points. As Jerry and Kramer stare at each other, boxes quickly appear underneath them with the number 8000 inside of the boxes and then quickly disappear. Jerry, I set a monster in defense mode. I also play 2 cards face down and end my turn. Kramer, okay, I draw and I summon Red Archery Girl in attack mode. The monsters are real. While angling a monster card, the sprite of that monster's battle animation from the video game adaptation of Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon dice monsters right before he or she attacks. Kramer and our Red Archery Girl in attack. Angle on Jerry's face down monster. Jerry flips the monster card over, revealing it to be the giant soldier of stone. Monster battle. Edit the battle animation from the video game of Red Archery Girl attacking giant soldier of stone, but giant soldier of stone, he repels the attack from the video game adaptation of Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon dice monsters onto the screen. Angle on Jerry. Jerry, that one went as well as Vandalay Industries. Battle damage. When a player loses life points, a box will appear showing how many life points he has left, but in this script it will be said that a character's life points fell down to a lower number. Angle on Kramer. Kramer crap. Kramer's life points drop down to 7,400. Jerry, my turn, I draw. Jerry draws a card and show that the card that Jerry drew is card destruction. Jerry, and now I play the card I just drew, card destruction, which causes us to discard our entire hand and draw the same number of cards that we discarded. Kramer crap, and I had some good ones. Jerry and Kramer discard their hands and draw new ones. Show that Jerry's hand contains Battle Ox, Man-Eater Bug, and Burning Land. Jerry, now I summon Battle Ox. Battle Ox appears on top of his card. Jerry, Battle Ox attack. Battle Ox attacks and destroys Red Archery Girl. Kramer's life points fall down to 7,100. Jerry, and I'll end my turn by playing Burning Land, which works to my advantage. Like this, each turn we each take 500 points of damage. Kramer, okay, my move. Kramer's life points fall down to 6,600. Kramer draws a card. Kramer, I play Toon World. It will cost me 1,000 life points, but when I draw a Toon monster you're going down, Jerry, but for now I summon Killer Needle in defense mode. Kramer pays 1,000 life points, leaving him with only 5,600. Jerry's life points fall down to 7,500. Jerry, after drawing a card, I set one monster in defense mode and now Battle Ox steer through Kramer's monsters. Angle on Kramer's graveyard. Show the monster cards Harpy Lady, Delma the Angel of Silence, and Skull Servant appear in Kramer's graveyard. Jerry's life points are at 6,000 and Kramer life points are at 4,100. Kramer, come forth, Barreled Dragon. Kramer places his Barreled Dragon card on the table and Barreled Dragon appears on top of its card. Kramer, Barreled Dragon, destroy Jerry's Battle Ox. Jerry, not so fast, I activate my trap card shift, allowing my giant soldier of stone to absorb the blow. Barreled Dragon attacks and destroys giant soldier of stone. Kramer, now I activate Barreled Dragon's special ability to destroy that damn Battle Ox. Kramer flips a coin and gets tails. Kramer flips a coin and gets heads. Kramer flips a coin and gets tails. Kramer, I play one card face down and end my turn. Jerry draws a card. Jerry's life points fall down to 5,500. Show that Jerry drew summoned Skull. Jerry, first I change Battle Ox into defense mode and next I now invoke the power of the mighty summoned Skull. This is his summoned Skull card on the table and summoned Skull appears on top of his card. Jerry, next up, arm my summoned skull with the Sword of Dark Destruction that increases his attack power by 400 points. Now summoned skull, drag Kramer's barrel dragon to the scrapyard. Summoned skull attacks and destroys barrel dragon. Kramer's life points fall down to 4,100. Kramer, okay, my turn. Kramer draws a card. Kramer's life points fall down to 3,600. Angle on Kramer's face. A smirk comes across Kramer's face. Kramer, I summon slot machine. Kramer places his slot machine card on the table and slot machine appears on top of its card. Kramer, now I play Monster Reborn to call my barrel dragon back from the graveyard. Kramer takes his barrel dragon out of the graveyard, places on the table, and barrel dragon appears on top of its card. Kramer, and now I activate my face down card Metalmorph and I equip it to my barrel dragon. Now barrel dragon blow summons skull out of the water. Barrel dragon attacks and destroys summoned skull. Jerry's life points fall down to 2,600. Jerry, I activate my trap card Just Desserts, which inflicts 500 points of damage for every monster you save on the field. Kramer's life points fall down to 2,600. Kramer, I end my turn. Jerry, I know. Jerry draws a card. Jerry's life points fall down to 2,100. Jerry, and now I'm going to win. Jerry pauses. Jerry, continue. Now I play Change of Heart, which allows me to take control of one of your monsters. And guess which one I'm going to choose? Kramer, scared. Barrel Dragon? Jerry, right, won the money. I chose Barrel Dragon, and now Barrel Dragon destroys Slot Machine and win this duel for your new master. Barrel Dragon attacks and destroys Slot Machine. Angle on Kramer. Kramer, screaming, no. Kramer's life points fall all the way down to 0. Takahashi, though, Jerry, you have won. You will battle in the finals, and as an anti-you Kramer's Barrel Dragon as a prize. Kramer, crap. Takahashi's apartment, 2 minutes later. George and Newman are sitting at the table. Takahashi, round 2, George versus Newman begin. George, the first set 1 monster in defense mode and end my turn. Newman, my move. Newman draws a card. Newman, I summon my Galmori Dragon. Newman places his Galmori Dragon card on the table and Galmori Dragon appears on top of its card. Newman, now Galmori Dragon attack Dragon Flames. Angle on George's face down monster. George flips the monster card over, revealing it to be Rock Ogre Grotto number 1. Galmori attacks and destroys Rock Ogre Grotto number 1. Newman laughs. Newman, like Jerry, only worse. George draws a card. George, the first set 1 more monster in defense mode and set 2 cards face down. That ends my turn. Newman, I summon Red Archery Girl in attack mode, but it will be my Galmori Dragon who will be destroying that face down card of yours. George, the first activate first my face down card Robin Goblin, which means when I inflict damage to you, you have to discard a card. George flips the monster card over, revealing it to be Pumpkin, the King of Ghosts. Angle on George, and now I activate my second trap card Castle Walls to increase Pumpkin defense power by 500 points. Galmori Dragon attacking Pumpkin, the King of Ghosts, but the attack fails. Newman's life points drop down to 7,000. George, and due to the effect of Robin Goblin, you have to discard 1 card from your hand. Angle on Newman's graveyard. Show that Newman had discarded jellyfish. Newman, bitter, I switch Galmori Dragon into defense mode, play a card face down and end my turn. George the First summon the 13th grave in defense mode and I switch Pumpkin the King of Ghosts into attack mode and now Pumpkin attack Red Archery Girl. Pumpkin the King of Ghosts attacks and destroys Red Archery Girl. Newman's life points drop down to 6,600. Georgian once again because of to the effect of Robin Goblin you have to discard one more card from your hand. Angle on Newman's graveyard. Show that Newman had discarded Lodgin, the mystical genie of the lamp, magician of faith, Ryucation powered and Larvae Moth appear in Newman's graveyard. Angle on George. George, I'm in complete control, but what would expect you're the weakest duelist in the tournament. Angle on Newman. Newman, I'll change that option in one turn, as I now summon Jirigumo, the strongest card in my deck. Newman places his Jirigumo card on the table and Jirigumo appears on top of his card. Newman, and now I reveal my face down card Megamorph and equip it to Jirigumo, doubling his attack points. Angle on George. A scared look comes across George's face. Newman, Jirigumo removed that pumpkin from the field, but before I attack I can flip a coin, and if it comes up tails my life points will be cut in half. Newman flips a coin and gets heads. Newman, though, crap. Jirigumo and destroys Pumpkin the King of Ghosts. George's life points drop down to 5,400. George the First to draw. George a card and add it to his hand. Angle on George's hand. Show that the card that George just drew was Flame Manipulator. George, it's payback time, baby, because I play Shield and Sword, which will reduce Jirigumo's attack points down to 100, and now I play Polymerization and fuse my Flame Manipulator and Masaki the Legendary Swordsman into Flame Swordsman. George discards Flame Manipulator and Masaki the Legendary Swordsman, places the Flame Swordsman card on the table and Flame Swordsman appears on top of his card. George, and that's not all, I Salamandra, which turns my Flame Swordsman from just another level 6 fusion monster into a 2,500 attack point beat stick. Angle on Newman. Sheo a scared look on Newman's face. George, now Flame Swordsman roast that oversized bug and squash it. Angle on Flame Swordsman card with the Flame Swordsman's pride on it. George, Flaming Sword of Battle. Flame Swordsman attacks and destroys Jirigumo. Angle on Newman. Newman's life points drop down to 4,200. George, and a mocking tone, oh Newman, due to the effect of Robin Goblin you have to discard one card. Graveyard. Show that Newman had discarded Cocoon of Evolution. Newman draws a card. Newman, I summon Illusionist Faceless Mage in defense mode. Newman places his Illusionist Faceless Mage card on the table and Illusionist Faceless Mage appears on top of his card. George the First summon Baby Dragon. George places his Baby Dragon card on the table and Baby Dragon appears on top of his card. George, Flame Swordsman attack. Flame Swordsman attacks and destroys Illusionist Faceless Mage. Newman, I play Killer Needle in defense mode. Newman places his Killer Needle card on the table and Killer Needle appears on top of his card. George draws another card. George, another bug. Flame Swordsman squash it. Flame Swordsman attacks and destroys Killer Needle. Newman, I call forth the castle of dark illusions, also in defense mode. George, flame swordsman, storm the castle. Flame swordsman attacks and destroys castle of dark illusions. Newman draws a card. Newman, I set a monster in defense mode. George, set the monster in defense mode. What are you so ashamed of the crappy monster that you just drew that you don't want us to see it? George, continue. Either way it doesn't matter. Flame swordsman, destroy that face down card. Angle on Newman's face down monster. Newman flips the monster card over, revealing it to be Maneater Bug. Flame swordsman attacks and destroys Maneater Bug. Angle on Newman's face. Show an evil smirk on Newman's face. Newman, thinking that Bald Simpleton fell for it. Pray to commercial. Fade in. Hint. Takahashi's apartment, night. George and Newman are battling it out in the second round of an unofficial Yu-Gi-Oh tournament being broadcast worldwide. Angle on Newman's face. Show an evil smirk on Newman's face. Newman, to George, you fell for it. Angle on George's face. George, scared, W. Now I summon Ryukishin in defense mode. George places his Ryukishin card on the table and Ryukishin appears on top of his card. Newman draws a card. Newman, I summon Hitatsumi Giant in attack mode. Now Hitatsumi Giant attack. Newman places his Hitatsumi Giant card on the table and Hitatsumi Giant appears on top of his card. Hitatsumi Giant card. Newman, and now I summon the monster that I just won from you, the Red Eyes Black Dragon. Newman places his Red Eyes Black Dragon card on the table and Red Eyes Black Dragon appears on top of his card. George, this duel isn't over. For all you know, I'll be walking away with your Jiragumo. Newman, yes it is. I play the magic card that I just drew the spell, which I now use to destroy Megamorph and send it back to my graveyard. Angle on George's face. George just stares completely defeated. Newman, Red Eyes Black Dragon destroy Baby Dragon Inferno Fire Blast. Red Eyes Black Dragon attacks and destroys Baby Dragon. Angle on George. George's life points fall all the way down to 0. Takahashi Newman, you won the duel and you're going to battle against Jerry Seinfeld in the next and final round of this tournament, and as an anti, George's Red Eyes Black Dragon as your prize. George, no. Newman picks the Red Eyes Black Dragon card up off the table and looks at George. Newman holds the Red Eyes Black Dragon right in George's face. Newman to George / holding up the Red Eyes Black Dragon card. Last time I checked, this card is worth over $79, and now that's how much money that you no longer have. Angle on George. George, screaming, no. 2. In Takahashi's apartment, 9 minutes later. Jerry and Newman walk up to the table with Takahashi standing right in front of it. Takahashi, well folks, we're at the final round of the tournament with Jerry Seinfeld, who will battle Newman, and since this is the final round of the tournament, it will have a twist, a double ante, meaning that both duelists will be wagering both his strongest monster card, but the monster that he won in his last duel, and whoever wins this duel will be walking away with all 4 cards that were wagered right before this tournament began. Both Jerry and Newman sit down at the table as Takahashi begins to step backwards. Takahashi, round 3, the final round of the tournament, Jerry versus Newman begin. Jerry, I set the monster in defense mode and end my turn. Newman, it's my turn, Jerry, and I summon Galmori Dragon in attack mode. Newman places his Galmori Dragon card on the table and Galmori Dragon appears on top of his card. Newman, now Galmori Dragon attack Dragon Flames. Angle on Jerry's face down monster. Jerry flips the monster card over, revealing it to be the Castle of Dark Illusions. Galmori Dragon attacks the Castle of Dark Illusions but fails to destroy it. Newman's life points drop down to 75-70. Jerry draws a card. Jerry, now I play the magic card destruction, so we discard our hands and draw the same number that we discarded. Both Jerry and Newman discard their hands and redraw. Jerry, and now I call forth Cursed Dragon. Jerry places his Cursed Dragon card on the table and Cursed Dragon appears on top of his card. Jerry, Cursed Dragon attack and show that you're the superior dragon. Cursed Dragon attacks and destroys Galmori Dragon. Newman's life points drop down to 70-70. Newman, I set the monster in defense mode and I end my turn. Jerry, I summon Winged Dragon, Guardian of the Fortress #1 in defense mode. Jerry places his Winged Dragon, Guardian of the Fortress #1 card on the table, and Winged Dragon, Guardian of the Fortress #1 appears on top of his card. Jerry now Curse of Dragon attack again. Angle on Newman's face down monster. Newman flips the monster card over, revealing it to be Aquamador. Curse of Dragon attacks Aquamador but fails to destroy him. Jerry, I play a card face down and end my turn. Newman draws a card and pauses. Newman, I end my turn. Jerry, I summon Sangan in defense mode. Jerry places his Sangan card on the table and Sangan appears on top of his card. Newman, I set the monster in defense mode and end my turn and play 2 cards face down and I end my turn. Jerry Curse of Dragon attack again. Angle on Newman's face down monster. Newman flips the monster card over, revealing it to be Illusionist Faceless Mage. Newman. Newman, Jerry, you've fallen into my trap, as I reveal my 2 face-down cards, Graceful Dice and Skull Dice. Play the Graceful Dice animation from the video game adaptation Yu-Gi-Oh! The Eternal Duelist Soul, where the die is rolled and counts of 5. Angle on Newman. Newman, yes, I rolled a 5. Play the Skull Dice animation from the video game adaptation Yu-Gi-Oh! The Eternal Duelist Soul, where the die is rolled and counts up 2. Curse of Dragon attacks Illusionist Faceless Mage but fails to destroy him. Jerry's life points drop down to 7,100. Newman draws a card. Newman, I summon Battle Ox. Newman places his Battle Ox card on the table and Battle Ox appears on top of his card. Newman, but that's not all. I now combine Battle Ox with my Invigoration Magic card, rising his attack power to. Newman, continue. Now Battle Ox destroy Jerry's Cursed Dragon. Battle Ox attacks and destroys Cursed Dragon. Jerry's life points drop down to 7,000. Jerry draws a card. Jerry, there's nothing I can do. Newman, Battle Ox storm and destroy the Castle of Dark Illusions. Battle Ox attacks and destroys the Castle of Dark Illusions. Jerry draws a card. Jerry, I play 1 card face down and end my turn. Newman, Battle Ox, slay the Winged Dragon, Guardian of the Fortress #1. Battle Ox attacks and the Winged Dragon, Guardian of the Fortress #1. Jerry draws a card. Jerry, and now I summon the monster that I just drew. Newman, another worthless card. Jerry, wrong. Newman, it's the monster that I won from Kramer. I summon Barrel Dragon in attack mode. Jerry places his Barrel Dragon card on the table and Barrel Dragon appears on top of its card. Jerry, now Barrel Dragon in blow Newman's Battle Ox into next Thursday. Barrel Dragon attacks and destroys Battle Ox. Newman's life points drop down to 6570. Newman draws a card. Newman, I summon Jellyfish in defense mode. Newman places his Jellyfish card on the table and Jellyfish appears on top of his card. Newman, and now I play the field magic card Quarrels of Sanctuary, which increases the defense power of all monsters by 500 points. Jerry, you know, Newman, you're nothing but a coward. All of your strategies are all about running away and then trying to hide behind your monsters instead of believing in their might. Newman, my strategies are going to lead me to victory by protecting me. Jerry barrel dragon and blow Newman's jellyfish out of the water. Barrel dragon attacks and destroys jellyfish. Jerry, and since I can't destroy illusionist faceless mage by having barrel dragon attack it, I'll just use barrel dragon's special ability to destroy your illusionist, Newman. Jerry flips a coin and gets heads. Jerry flips a coin and gets tails. Jerry flips a coin and gets tails. Newman laughs. Jerry crap. Newman, my illusionist faceless mage will continue to protect me with its 2700 defense points. Jerry, I play one card face down and end my turn. Newman, I summon Castle of Dark Illusions in defense mode. Newman places his Castle of Dark Illusions card on the table and Castle of Dark Illusions appears on top of its card. Jerry barrel dragon destroy Aquamador. Barrel dragon attacks and destroys Aquamador. Jerry, now barrel dragon give illusionist faceless mage the Russian roulette treatment. Jerry flips a coin and gets tails. Jerry flips a coin and gets heads. Jerry flips a coin and gets tails. Newman, now I summon Mystic Horseman in defense mode. Newman places his Mystic Horseman card on the table and Mystic Horseman appears on top of his card. Jerry, I summon Jabu the Fierce Knight in attack mode. Jerry places his Jabu the Fierce Knight card on the table and Jabu the Fierce Knight appears on top of its card. Jerry, now Jabu attack and destroy Mystic Horseman. Jabu the Fierce Knight attacks and destroys Mystic Horseman. Jerry, now for barrel dragon's special ability. Jerry flips a coin and gets heads. Jerry flips a coin and gets tails. Jerry flips a coin and gets heads. Jerry barrel dragon wrote the field of Newman's illusionist faceless mage. Proton blast. Proton blast. Ended the battle animation from the video game of Barrel Dragon attacking and destroying illusionist faceless mage from the video game adaptation of Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon dice monsters onto the screen. Newman draws a card. Newman, you may have taken down my strongest defense monster, but I just drew something that faked down all of your monsters. Break to commercial. Fade in. End. Takahashi's apartment, night. Jerry and Newman are battling it out in the final round of an unofficial Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament being broadcast worldwide. Newman, I summon the monster that I won from your friend Gerald, the Red Eyes Black Dragon. Newman places his Red Eyes Black Dragon card on the table and Red Eyes Black Dragon appears on top of his card. Jerry, Red Eyes Black Dragon. Jerry, yeah, he could destroy Jabu the Fierce Knight, but he could never take on Barrel Dragon. Newman, don't count your chickens, Jerry. Angle on the Megamorph card. Newman, For I now equip my Red Eyes Black Dragon with the Megamorph magic card, doubling its attack points. Now Red Eyes Black Dragon rid the field of Jerry's Barrel Dragon, Inferno Fire Blast. Jerry, not so fast. I activate Trap Card Shift so my Sangan will be the target of Red Eyes attack. Red Eyes Black Dragon attacks and destroys Sangan. Jerry Sangan's effect allows me to add one monster with 1500 or less attack points to my hand. Jerry pulls a card from his hand and adds it to his hand. Jerry, I switch Javier the Fierce Knight and Barrel Dragon into defense mode, but now I activate his special ability. Jerry flips a coin and gets tails. Jerry flips a coin and gets heads. Jerry flips a coin and gets tails. Newman laughs. Newman, you failed. Jerry, and now I summon Mystical Elf in defense mode. Jerry places his Mystical Elf card on the table and Mystical Elf appears on top of her card. Newman, I summon the Lord of Dragons in defense mode. Newman places his Lord of Dragons card on the table and Lord of Dragons appears on top of his card. Newman, now Red Eyes Black Dragon show Javier that knight don't always slay the dragon. Red Eyes Black Dragon attacks and destroys Javier the Fierce Knight. Red Eyes Black Dragon attacks and destroys Barrel Dragon. Jerry draws a card. Jerry, I summon my Battle Ox in defense mode and end my turn. Jerry places his Battle Ox card on the table and Battle Ox appears on top of his card. Newman, Red Eyes Black Dragon destroy the Mystical Elf. Red Eyes Black Dragon attacks and destroys the Mystical Elf. Jerry, I summon my Celtic Guardian in defense mode. Jerry places his Celtic Guardian card on the table and Celtic Guardian appears on top of his card. Jerry, I play one card face down and end my turn. Newman's Celtic Guardian apparently didn't learn his anything from what happened to Javier the Not So Fierce Knight, so burn him alive. Red Eyes. Red Eyes Black Dragon attacks and destroys Celtic Guardian. Jerry draws a card. Jerry, I set the card that I just drew face down. Newman, I summon Jiragumo in defense mode. Newman places his Jiragumo card on the table and Jiragumo appears on top of his card. Newman, now the Will Red Eyes Black Dragon will rid a field of Jerry's face down card. Angle on Jerry's face down monster. Jerry flips the monster card over, revealing it to be Maneater Bug. Red Eyes Black Dragon attacks and destroys Maneater Bug. Newman, if that was an attempt to destroy my Red Eyes Black Dragon, it won't work, as the Lord of Dragons' special ability protects him and every other dragon-type monster in play. Jerry, I know that, Newman, and that's why my target is Angoulum. Newman. Jerry, though, the Lord of Dragons himself. The third Man-Eater Bug. Edit the battle animation from the video game of Man-Eater Bug attacking and destroying the Lord of Dragons from the video game adaptation of Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon Dice monsters onto the screen. Jerry, now I summon the strongest monster in my deck, the Dark Magician in attack mode. Jerry places his Dark Magician card on the table and Dark Magician appears on top of his card. Newman, is this some kind of way of going out in a blaze of glory? Newman, continue. My red-eyes black dragon has an attack power of 4,800 and your Dark Magician only has an 2,500 attack points. Jerry, I know that, Newman. Jerry, and that's why I play the Dispel Magic card to destroy your Megamorph Magic card. Newman, surprised, no. Jerry, now let's see if Red Eyes Black Dragon is as strong without Megamorph. Dark Magician, destroy the Red Eyes Black Dragon Dark Magic attack. Dark Magician attacks and destroys Red Eyes Black Dragon. Newman's life points drop down to 6470. Angle on George. George, way to go, Jerry beat down that rotten postman. Newman, I summon Hitatsumi Giant in defense mode. Newman places his Hitatsumi Giant card on the table and Hitatsumi Giant appears on top of his card. Jerry, I summon Ryukishin in defense mode. Jerry places his Ryukishin card on the table and Ryukishin appears on top of his card. Jerry, now Dark Magician squash Newman big useless bug. Dark Magician attacks and destroys Jerry Gumo. Newman, I summon Saki the Dark Clown in defense mode. Newman places his Saki the Dark Clown card on the table and Saki the Dark Clown appears on top of his card. Jerry, now Dark Magician destroys Saki the Dark Clown. Dark Magician attacks and destroys Saki the Dark Clown. Newman, I set the monster in defense mode. Jerry, now Dark Magician destroy Newman's face down card. Angle on Newman. An evil smile comes across Newman's face. Angle on Newman's face down monster. Newman flips the monster card over, revealing it to be Maneater Bug. Dark Magician attacks and destroys Maneater Bug. Newman, smug, oh Jerry, you grew a little too big for your britches and now your Dark Magician will pay the price. The fourth Maneater Bug. Ended the battle animation from the video game of Maneater Bug attacking and destroying Dark Magician from the video game adaptation Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon Dice monsters onto the screen. Newman, I summon Red Archery Girl in attack mode. Newman places his Red Archery Girl card on the table and Red Archery Girl appears on top of her card. Newman, Red Archery Girl in attack Jerry's Ryukishin. Red Archery Girl attacks and destroys Ryukishin. Jerry, I summon Other Sangan in defense mode. Jerry places his Other Sangan card on the table and Sangan appears on top of it. Newman, Red Archery Girl in attack Jerry's Other Sangan. Red Archery Girl attacks and destroys Sangan. Jerry, just like the last Sangans you destroyed, its effect lets me to add one monster whose attack points 1500 from my deck to my hand. Jerry pulls a card from his hand and adds it to his hand. Jerry draws a card and pauses, looking at his hand. Jerry, I set a monster in defense mode and end my turn. Newman, I summon Larvae Moth in defense mode. Newman places his Larvae Moth card on the table and Larvae Moth appears on top of its card. Newman a red archery girl and attack Jerry's other face-down card. Angle on Jerry's face-down monster. Jerry flips the monster card over, revealing it to be the giant soldier of stone. Red archery girl attacks the giant soldier of stone but fails to destroy it. Angle on Newman. Newman life points drop down to 5370. Jerry, though, it's kind of obvious that I'm gonna win. Angle on Jerry. Jerry, because this is exactly how my duel with Kramer begun. Angle on George. George laughs. George, he's right, Newman, you're gonna lose. Jerry draws a card. Jerry, I end my turn. Newman, I summon Killer Needle in defense mode. Jerry, it's my turn and I draw. Jerry draws a card. Jerry and I play my summoned skull. Jerry places his summoned skull card on the table and summoned skull appears on top of his card. Jerry and now I play the magic card Monster Reborn to resurrect the monster that you won from George, the Red Eyes Black Dragon. Jerry goes through Newman's graveyard and removes the Red Eyes Black Dragon from Newman's graveyard and holds it up. Jerry places Newman's Red Eyes Black Dragon card on the table and Red Eyes Black Dragon appears on top of his card. Jerry and now I play Polymerization to fuse my summoned skull with my Red Eyes Black Dragon 2 from my Black Skull Dragon. Jerry places his Polymerization card on the table. Jerry picks up his summoned skull card and places in his graveyard. Jerry picks up Newman's Red Eyes Black Dragon card and places in Newman's graveyard. Jerry places his Black Skull Dragon card on the table and Black Skull Dragon appears on top of his card. Jerry now Black Skull Dragon vaporize Newman's Red Archery Girl, Molten Fireball. Black Skull Dragon attacks and destroys Red Archery Girl. Newman's life points drop down to 3570. Newman draws a card. Newman, there's nothing I can do. Jerry Black Skull Dragon destroy Newman's Killer Needle. Black Skull Dragon attacks and destroys Killer Needle. Newman, I still have nothing. Jerry Black Skull Dragon squash Newman's Larvae Moth. Black Skull Dragon attacks and destroys Larvae Moth. Newman, you got that monstrosity on the field by playing Monster Reborn, which is the card that I just drew. Newman places his Monster Reborn card on the table. Newman, and the monster that I'm going to resurrect is the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Jerry, oh come on Newman, we both know that you lost that card. Newman holds up his graveyard, pulls a card out of it and puts his graveyard down. Newman, holding a card in front of his face, did I? Newman places his Blue Eyes White Dragon card on the table. Angle on the Blue Eyes White Dragon card. Newman, I hereby use Monster Reborn to resurrect my Blue Eyes White Dragon. The Blue Eyes White Dragon appears on top of his card. Angle on Takahashi. Takahashi, screaming in anger, Newman, what's the meaning of this? You said that you lost that card. Newman, I lied, okay. I want to go pro and I'm not going to risk losing my best card. Jerry O. Newman, even Blue Eyes White Dragon can beat my Black Skull Dragon. Newman nodded after I combined him with this angle on the Rush Recklessly card. Newman, my Rush Recklessly magic card to increase his attack power by 700 points. Angle on Newman. Newman, now Blue Eyes White Dragon vaporize Jerry's Black Skull Dragon, White Lighting. Blue Eyes White Dragon attacks and destroys Black Skull Dragon. Jerry's life points drop down to 6,500. Jerry draws a card. Jerry, I end my turn. Newman draws a card. Newman, Blue Eyes White Dragon destroy the giant soldier of stone. Jerry, I activate my face-down card castle walls to increase the defense power of my giant soldier of stone by 500 points. Blue Eyes White Dragon attacks the giant soldier of stone but fails to destroy him. Jerry draws a card. Jerry, once again I got nothing. Newman draws a card. Newman, well, since Takahashi is already pissed at me, I'll summon the monster that I just drew. Angle on the Trihorn Dragon card. Newman, my Trihorn Dragon. Takahashi, screaming in anger. Newman, how do you have that card? Cut to hint. Apartment building, hallway, night. Newman voiceover, well, when I supposed to deliver the briefcase that contained the prize cards for this tournament. Newman rams the briefcase into the wall and the Trihorn Dragon card falls out of the briefcase. Newman voiceover, I accidentally dropped and broke it and the Trihorn Dragon card fell out of it. Newman runs out of fear of being caught. Newman voiceover, and since I had the strongest cards in my deck I knew that I would win this tournament, so I decided to keep the card that I knew would eventually be mine, so does it really matter? Ends. Takahashi's apartment, night. Newman, because, as you know, when you control the male you control. Newman pauses. Newman, what cards people get? Jerry, you won't win, Newman. Newman, Blue Eyes White Dragon destroy attack and destroy the giant soldier of stone this time. Blue Eyes White Dragon attacks and destroys the giant soldier of stone. Jerry draws a card. Newman, smug, go ahead and play your final card. Jerry, right in front of his face, holds the card up and turns it around. Jerry, my final card is Exodia the Forbidden One. Angle on the 5 Exodia cards. Jerry had places the 5 Exodia cards on the table in the exact same way that Dark Yuji did in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga. Jerry voiceover Exodia obliterate. Play the Exodia instant win animation from the video game adaptation Yu-Gi-Oh! The Eternal Duelist's Soul. Newman lies at the floor as his life points fall all the way down to 0. Angle on Jerry. Jerry stands victorious, having won the tournament. Takahashi, Jerry Seinfeld, you have won the tournament, and as your prize you won Newman's Jiragumo, the Red Eyes Black Dragon he won from Georgia, and all of the prize cards, even the one that Newman stole. Cut to end. Jerry's apartment, Jerry's bedroom, day. Jerry wakes up in bed. Jerry looks down and sees a copy of Yu-Gi-Oh! Dungeon Dice Monsters for Game Boy Advance fell of his chest onto his lap. Angle on Jerry. Jerry crap, it was all just a dream. Fade out.